underground.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Out of Battery Not So Live. Today we have some usual suspects. We got Bitplum, we got Danny Meatball in the house, but of particular import is our guest for the day, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sabr. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey man, how you doing? Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks
So-
for coming, man.
Before we get too far into it, I just want to ask, it's been a much contested thing historically. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Sabr, Sabr?
It's Sabr.
Sabr. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're getting it right, setting the record straight.
Everybody take note.
So let's kick things off right away with some history lessons. How did you get into 3D printing or guns? Whichever one you got into first, how did you get into it?
Okay, so I started with polymer 80s, right? I mean, I had guns before that, right? But usually in our culture is a lot of revolvers, right? Because no shell, no case, allegedly. Um,
Shit.
but I started working on P80s because I've always liked to tinker, right? I've always been a tinkerer. So then I started following the accounts, right? Which it was actually JSD, and actually
Okay.
my first P80 um, was from 1776, and this was a while back, like even before COVID, I believe. And then from there, I started looking at JSD and following them, and noticed that JD started posting about 3D printing, right? Um,
Okay.
and I had been wanting to do 3D printing for a while because my boss wanted to start it also, but we didn't know how much the machines were, because I think when I checked the first time how much the machines were at that time, it could have been like maybe what 7 8 years back. They were like $1,000, almost 2,000, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Not yet the days of
yeah,
$200 enders.
correct. So then when I saw JSD talking about it, JSD starts talking about 3D printing and showing the stuff he was doing. I'm like, what? Like, you could do this? And I ended up going on Reddit, bro, and Reddit was a rabbit hole for me. I started figuring it out. Then I see I think Control Pew stuff, right? And
Okay.
and then I start following the 3D General, and I know I saw some of Mr. Snow stuff and the Liberator, right? Everybody, I think everybody saw the Liberator because they did a interview with Vice. And then I ended up seeing the AWC one, the ones you guys did with Vice, right? And I was
Mhm.
like, man, these guys are dope as hell, bro. Like, look at all this stuff they had, and I think they had Kron, the one he had with that dragon. I think they showed that, right? Uh,
The Evo.
yeah, yeah. The only thing I didn't like at the end was how I think I forgot if it was a girl or a guy, but they went to the ATF office and started snitching, like showing their phone. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
The
'Cause at
thing
first,
I like about that scene though is like when he's showing the camera, he says the line, I forget what exactly the line, but it's something like, you know, uh these people are only limited by their imaginations, and the ATF agents is like, and some of them have pretty good imaginations.
yeah,
And I
like
love that. I think that's great.
you could tell the ATF agent was kind of like cool with it, bro. Like, he's like, "What?" Like, you could tell he was like, "Man, I'm gonna go to the next meetup or something," right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, from there on, I started learning more, uh, and I got into it in the beginnings of COVID. Do you guys really want to know actually one of the main actual reasons I really got into it? Are you guys cool with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that time, my stepdad got diagnosed with ALS, right? So, you guys, if you guys haven't heard about ALS, ALS is one of the worst ways to go. It's the worst way to die, bro. Like people say cancer, like cancer and ALS are like the worst, man. My stepdad was a healthy man, bro. Worked all his life, strong, tall guy, man. Little by little, it started progressing where he couldn't walk, where he couldn't do this. And around the time that I got into the 3D printing, I pretty much had quit my job. I stayed at home with my mother. It was me and my mother, the caregivers. I took care of
Mm.
him during the day. As soon as he woke up, I got him up, brought him to the living room because we didn't want to send him to no home, right?
Yeah.
We wanted he always took care of my mother, and he always took care not really of me, but he took care of my kids, right? Um, like at the time when I had issues and I wasn't around at home, he would take my kids to go visit me and stuff like that. So then at the same time, I had gone through a divorce with my ex-wife, right? And and I had two kids with her, my daughter and my son. And when we separated, my daughter and my son, my daughter was probably like 10, 11. My son at that time was probably like 12, 13, because they're only a year apart, right? So I was really going through a lot of like stuff, like seeing
Yeah.
him die in front of my eyes, my divorce, right? And then my son started having issues, but the issue is that I didn't find out about it till it was too late. Um, and then my son ends up dying. Um, my son ends up dying, and one of the real reasons I started 3D printing, the first build I did was the bento box, because he came home one time and he saw me printing, and he saw one of my polymer 80s, and he's all like, "Oh, you went shooting that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's all like, "I want to go shooting." And I'm like, "All right, bro, if you show me that you did good this semester at school, I'll take you shooting." So I was building the bento box for him. That's why, even though I had issues with the top of it, I haven't changed it, because that was supposed to be his little planker so we could all go shooting. It was a 22. I think he would have loved it. Um,
Mm.
so it was a way for me to escape from everything. When I came into
Yeah.
the community, it was a way for me to get away from a lot of stuff that was going on at home. It was like the only way that I could shut down my mind. But at the same time, I was here at home. So if my mom needed help carrying him or transferring him, I could do it because I was here in the kitchen, but at the same time, I was in my own world, you know?
Mm. Yeah. So when you got your first printer to the bento box, like
Mhm.
how long had elapsed? Was that pretty fast?
Okay, so I'll tell you guys this. When I got my first printer, I got it from Amazon. I got V, the Ender V, the Ender 3 V2, right? And I kind of messed up because I went and I upgraded it right away, right? I added different bushings. I added uh everything, just changed everything real quick,
Yeah.
right? And and it took me like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It took me a month to figure out how to print something decent. I was about to
Mm.
give up, man. I was about to give up. But the thing is that I had time, and I just would sit there for hours trying to figure out, oh, maybe I did the wrong firmware, or maybe I did this. Finally, I brought it back to stock and it worked perfect. And then I started printing a bunch of uh frames just to experiment, a bunch of Glock frames, right? At that time, it was okay for us to do that in California. So if anybody's watching, it was during the time that we could do it. Then I started doing a lot of little knickknacks and stuff like that. then I start doing a bunch of magazines, right? Like the Mendes mags, and I think my first project, to be honest, was the FGC 9, like my first big project.
Mm.
I got the wind chime kit, right? And then
Yeah.
from there, I did the bento box. And
Okay.
I did the bento box because I ended up buying another printer. So it was during COVID, bro. So people were getting COVID money. I'm gonna be honest, right? Certain people were getting some of that relief money, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to buy a second printer, and I had two because this
Mm.
guy ended up hitting me up, and he wanted an order for the Baofeng cages, right?
The what?
Let me show you real quick.
It's a little ham radio,
Oh, like
little
the
bale fangs.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Zero showed me those a long time ago.
We were using them at Michigan.
Yeah, so you see these cages?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so allegedly, right, if you don't have your permit for what is
Like
it?
radio operating.
Yeah, yeah.
Your ham
You,
license.
yeah, you have like you can't hit this button. You could hear to the conversations, but you can't hit this allegedly. Once again.
Mm. No
Uh,
transmitting without a license.
yes, correct. But the thing is that people were saying like, "Well, I'll throw this in my backpack and it would just turn on right by itself." So this cage kind of stops it from turning on and stops it from accidentally pushing the button from transmitting. So this guy saw it and he loved it, bro. And he made me do an order, and I did an order of two colors. He wanted a black and he wanted a pink for his wife and his daughter. So I ended up doing that, man. And that's why I bought a second printer. So now
Okay.
I have two printers. I'm going in, right? I start working on the bento box and then at the FGC 9 at the same time. So
Hmm.
yeah, man. I think I've been in the game for about, let's say, a year and some change, because what
Okay.
happened is once my son died, when my son died, like he passed away November 4th, 2020. When he died, I took a big break, bro. I took like, I think,
Yeah.
like 2-month break. I mean, if you guys go back on my Instagram, you could see that I took a break because when I came into the community, actually, one of the first people to reach out to me was AJ Off Grid, right? Uh,
AG off grid.
yeah, AG Off Grid. He reached out to me, um, and I was doing videos for him, like doing his edits, right? And yeah, I'm not gonna answer that question. Uh, so I was doing videos, right? And then that's when my son passed away, and I kind of lost
Oh,
contact. And but from there, I came back, and the reason I came back was because the community helped me deal with my mourning. Like, if I wouldn't have had 3D printing to stay busy, if I wouldn't have been able to put my time in something, or clear my mind and not overthink, I probably would have done some other dumb stuff, right? I probably would have
yeah.
started drinking, or you know, doing something to try to kill the pain away. But 3D printing, a lot of people don't know this. Now they are, is actually what got me through it. What got me through my time of depression, because I was depressed. Like, I wouldn't come out of the house. I didn't. I mean, first of all, I really couldn't, right? Because we were watching them 24 hours a day. But
Yeah.
secondly, I just didn't want to deal with people, because people were gonna tell me like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry," this and that, and I would always tell people, "Don't say you're sorry. Like, who are we to question what God decided to do, right? If God decided to take my son, that's his decision, nobody else.
Mm.
I am nobody to question that. There's been prophets, right? And I don't want to get all uh, religious on everybody, but there's been prophets that have lost their son. Prophets, people chosen by God. Me, I'm nobody. And if you really think about it the way I think about it, right, is my when my son was born, he actually spent like a week in ICU because he had ended up drinking water and his lung was messed up, collapsed. So if I really one day I was kind of thinking about it, I said, "Hey man, these this time I got with my son was a blessing because my son was already on borrowed time, you know? He could have passed away when he was a baby, but luckily we were able to enjoy him. So it's like if they gave him a second chance and then God said like, "Yo, you already got to know him. You've already been with him for a while. He's got to go." Right? So 3D printing really helped me, and that's why I do what I do in the community. That's why I try to get people involved. That's why I don't like to really be part of drama because I want people that are going through stuff to realize, come to the community. You have a place where you could talk to people, where you could do things that are productive, fun, and at the same time American, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't know what when I bought my P80, I thought that was American. But when I built my first 3D printed gun, I was like, nah, this is what being an American really feels like.
Bro, so that's one of your greatest virtues, unmatched throughout the entire community, is your optimism, bro. And you're so philosophic and such a visionary, and like, just talk to us about like how you kind of see the community, because you talk about trying to bring more women into the community, trying to bring more
Yeah,
minorities into the community, trying to bring families in together. Like
yeah.
what's your thought process behind that?
All right. So something I really like, right, is when I met Many Enemies, right? When I met Many Enemies and his wife, I was really surprised, bro, because I hadn't really known of a family like them that they're all printing. I believe even his son prints, right?
Yeah.
I was like, man, like this is what family's supposed to be, right? This is a real American family. And when I mean American family, I mean the old American values that we have lost. And we've lost those because they took away the parent or the father role from the community,
The
right?
nuclear family.
Yes, they took all of that away, man. And they do that to control us because if there's no father figure around, how are we is the son gonna grow to be a better man? He's not, right? It's gonna be harder for him. But the reason I want more people in this community is because this community, first of all, it helps you become a better person. Second, it's making you practice one of your God-given rights, which is to defend yourself, to have a weapon, right? Third, it unites us a lot. They don't understand that the 3D printing community is a melting pot. It's like gumbo. We have everybody, bro. We have it, it's the most diverse community that I have met, right? 2A is already kind of a diverse community, but not really. It's getting there, but 3D printing is ahead of its time with diversity, bro.
Yeah.
You have everybody, right? Um,
Do
and
you
that's something that really attracted me to 3D printing. Go ahead, bro.
do you think that while you've been part of the GunCad community, it's uh where's the trend line? Do you think the diversity in GunCad has improved, stayed about the same, decreased?
Okay, so when you say GunCat, do you mean 2A in general or 3D 2A?
Specifically 3D 2A stuff.
3D 2A, bro, it's very diverse, very like no offense to anybody, but we have femboys, right? We have furries, right? We have
Yeah.
people with different sexual preferences, right? We got a Mexican, right? A couple Mexicans, right? We got everything, bro. We got everything. We got people from Germany, bro. Uh, we got people from all over the world doing this, right? So The only thing that like Danny said, right? I want to push more females in the community, and this is my reason, my personal opinion, why I want to do that, right? Because I feel in general, 2A is, how could I say this without getting in trouble? 2A is very it's a penis measuring contest, right? In the
Mm,
2A world. It's very, very, like, the only time you see a girl is if she's one of those girls that's in a bikini holding a gun and stuff like that, correct? Uh it's you don't see, now you're seeing more women actually shooting, teaching stuff, especially in the black community. Now you're seeing a lot of the women that are actually protecting themselves, even in the Latino community. I think right now the number one uh gender that is actually purchasing weapons are females, right?
mm,
Latinas and black, like they're buying guns left and right, and I think that's the reason of that. Once again, a lot of them are single mothers. A lot of them don't have a man at the house because, like I said, they're doing this on purpose. They're trying to break down the homestead. Now, I'm happy that there's African American women and Mexican women that are buying guns because now they have boys. Now they're able to teach their boys about guns the right way, right? Because
yeah.
now if this kid goes to the hood and they give him a gun and this kid doesn't know anything about it, you're gonna get an accidental discharge. A lot of those deaths happen because somebody picks up a gun and they don't know how to use it. You guys see it all over Instagram, right? There's people messing with them, no trigger control. But now we have these women that could teach their kids, and their kids could
Mm,
be protected, right? So the reason that I really want to get more females in here is because now if we have more women, men are gonna act different, right?
yeah. a
They're
hundred
not
percent.
they're not gonna be acting the way they are. They're gonna have to act as men. No more fighting, no more bickering, because now you got these badass women that are gonna show you how to do things, and now you're gonna have to up yourself, right? That's my personal opinion,
Like
and
the
that's
new chivalry.
yeah.
Chivalry's gonna come back.
I mean, it's not right because as men we all mess around, but in general we're gonna have to act a little bit different. We're gonna have to act more respectful towards them, right? And once we start respecting women, we're gonna start respecting ourselves as men, right? Um, and I'm not saying we don't do that already, but I'm saying we need more of that because that's the way that we're gonna grow the community. I always say that the only way that the community is gonna fail is through us. We are gonna make this community. It's up to us to make this community grow or not, right?
Mm,
It's our
That's
ego.
right.
It's our egos are putting away our differences and working with each other and being man enough to say, "Yo, I can't work with you, bro." Okay, bro, appreciate it, and walk away and not say, "Hey, man, that fool's lame," or like, he didn't want to work with me. He just sucks. No, just say, "Hey, we don't click. We don't see eye to eye." And instead of ruining this small friendship we might have, it's better to walk away and say, "Yo, I'm sorry, I can't work on this project with you." But we could still talk. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different opinion of what should we do on a project, what we should not do, right?
yeah.
A house divided cannot stand.
Correct.
Looking at the participation of women in GunCad, like what do you think the community could do better to bring more women in?
Uh, so I think for that, man, we just need to be more inviting, right? I think by that is we need to start maybe have an event where it's a family type of thing where you could bring your kids and bring your wife, and then everybody who has wife and kids, they start introducing each other, and then that's how it's gonna be easier to grow, right? And not just we're gonna have more women at the same time. It's gonna be something like I said, family orientated. We're gonna have your kid. Like why can't we have our kids? I mean, our kids. A lot of us sometimes already teach our kids about gun safety, right? What would be the best passage of a boy that's becoming a man than to have him print his own 22? Now, see, we lost that. We lost giving our sons a rite of passage, right? Turning our sons into men. A lot of the a lot of the past communities would have a ritual where they would turn where the boy at a certain age would become a man. Just like in the Latino community, we have the Sweet 15 for the women, right? Where women start becoming women. um we need to have that for men, because sometimes these boys don't know how to be men because nobody taught them. And not another thing, now these boys are going to bigger boys to try to teach them to be men, right? To these older boys, because I didn't learn to be a man till I was maybe like 26, 27, and nobody taught me to be a man. To be honest, I learned to be a man from my mother. Yes, my father was there, but my mother was the one that gave me more discipline on actually how to do things, and she couldn't teach me everything. That's why I made a lot of mistakes, you know. But now if we
Yeah.
have a ritual where we teach our kids, look, build this is gonna, and sit there with them, that's bonding, bro. If you have your wife and your daughter do the same thing, that's bonding. Now your daughter, your wife could all go shoot something you guys built. It could either be a launcher, it could be a dick butt gun. Nah, I'm joking. But it could be like a Hello Kitty thing. You know what I mean? Like the one that they did, the Lisa Frank one, the Fox,
Yeah.
something cool like that, bro. And I think that would just make the community way better, right? Instead of just us going into our man caves and printing, now you could have competitions with your wife, bro. Now imagine, instead of having a showdown like the thing we're having with JSD, right? It could be husband versus wife. Like it's just endless possibilities, and that's how we're gonna be able to break uh into the regular outlets, bro. That's how we're gonna be able to stop being looked as criminals, as incels, as people that live in their mom's basement or whatever's, you know?
So which direction do you think the causality works there? Like is it that the 3D 2A community is already very kind of edgy and that pushes out women, or that the influx of women will sort of mitigate the extent to which the edginess is pervasive?
Yeah, I think having women will make it less edgy. I mean, we're
Okay.
still gonna be edgy, right? But there's a place and time for all of that, right? That's why a lot of the guys, we have group chats with our friends, and we're scared if our wife catches that, because there's might be some weird pictures there, and you're gonna have to be like, no, honey, it's a joke, right? Uh, I'm being honest, bro. But
She finds the picture of you putting those like googly eyes on your balls and wonders why you're sending it to all your friends.
exactly, bro, right? Um, so I'm just saying it would just make it less edgier. And like I said, look, the, I tell people this all the time, bro. The community is big enough that if you don't get along with somebody, or you don't feel what they're saying fits you, you go and make your own little group, and now you have your little faction. But at the same time, eh, you're still part of the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been several teams founded specifically because of that. People who didn't feel like they fit in the dominant thing left, created a new thing, and now there's a whole community surrounding them. So I do very much appreciate the idea. There is enough for everybody. Just go stake a piece of land somewhere and just start building.
Correct. I tell people, uh, this moment, at this moment right now, 3D printing is like the wild wild west, right? You could do whatever you want at this moment. A lot of the times when I started getting into this, I thought I was in too late. I thought, "Oh man, I'm in here too late. Everything's already set up. All the heroes are here." But no, the heroes are actually growing and becoming better heroes, and new people are coming in, and I think if you got into 3D printing right now during COVID and right now, it's still great time. It's still great time to create what you want. Um,
Yeah.
that's why I started the podcasting when I started. That's why I started my shows when I started them, because I was going around and I was just looking at one person do something by themselves, right? Um, I was looking at if I wanted to have fun and I wanted to laugh, I would go check out shoot print shoot repeat, right? If I wanted to get very technical and nerd out and learn a lot of stuff, I would go watch Hoffman, Mr. Snow, 3D General, you know? But I was never seeing people talk like we're doing right now. I I
Yeah.
was I wasn't seeing people introduce who this person is, right? Because I feel like if we don't show the world, right? And even me seeing Vice, right? And shout out to John Crump, because John Crump had me on his show for the very first time, not knowing who I was or nothing like that. I was a nobody at that time. I'm still a nobody, right? But I'm just a nobody with more followers. Else, bro. But so in the beginning, right, he took me on his show, and when I saw John Crump's show, I would always tell myself, I want to be the John Crump of the 3D to a community. I wanted to be a neutral space where everybody could join me, come, and we could talk and discuss. And I know certain people are gonna say like a safe space. Yes, a safe space. We do need a safe space. As men, we do need to have a space where we could talk, me and you guys talk, and know that it's gonna be between us, right? That I'm able to trust my own people, not having to worry about if if like, oh man, watch what I say, right? Self, what do you call it? Like I
Censoring.
yes, correct. And we're seeing a lot of that, right? Even with comedians now in the world. I'm not saying everybody that's been caught doing weird stuff doesn't deserve it, but still, it's America, right? We have the freedom of speech, so we should be able to be comfortable around people and be able to say what we say and not get screwed over it, right? Not get looked at it certain ways. And another thing too, I hate texting, right? I don't like texting. I'd rather talk to you guys the way I'm talking to you guys, because if you send me a text, I'm going through a bad day or feeling weird, and I'm gonna read that text in a certain way, and I'm gonna say, "Man, he's just talking shit." But he's not. He's giving me. He's probably trying to help me, but I'm already going through a bad time. I'm already taking it my own personal way, and I think COVID did that a lot for us. COVID separated us a lot, and we couldn't have interactions, and the best thing to do is to see somebody, see their facial expressions, talk, listen to the tone of their voice to understand what that person really wants from you, or to get to know somebody, you know?
You do lose a lot of depth of interaction when you don't get to see the emotions on people's face, their movements, etc. Like it really does increase your connection with the person to be able to see their face and hear them talk out loud.
Yeah, correct.
So, yeah, we do that. Man, we've been bumping it up lately, having like little meetups and stuff. We'll go out like we did the live episode in Austin, and God, man,
Yeah.
it's built our relationship so much. Do you ever see yourself going to like a meetup if it's in your corner of the country or anything like that?
Oh, for sure, man. The only thing is that I live in California, bro. That
Yeah,
it's crazy over here. But I would love to do that. Like, don't get me wrong. I wanna do interviews where I go to somebody's home and interview them in their own element, bro. Like, I think that's intimate. That's you would get a amazing interview, right? You guys are sitting down in his home, and that's when you're really meeting people. That's why I started the podcast, because I wanted to humanize us. I wanted to say, hey man, this guy behind this mask is not a crazy person. He has a regular job, he has family, he has kids. I wanted to bring that to the people, to show them we're not just a bunch of criminals. And I think that's
Mm.
what a lot of people, when they would come on my show, they would ask me, mask or no mask, and I would tell them, do as you please, but this is the reason I don't wear a mask, because in the beginning I was wearing a mask, right? Once I went into John Crumb's show, that's when I took my mask off. That's the first time
Okay.
I did a face reveal, because I had this opinion that what we were doing was criminal, right? I thought, oh, because I saw rest in peace, Jay Stark. But I didn't know that Jay Stark was in a place that he couldn't do it. I'm in America. I got my rights. I got my freedom as an American, right? Um,
Mhm.
so then I would just tell people, do whatever you want, dude. But look, this is what I would tell them. Showing your face actually is helpful, because you're not hiding from anything. You're not doing anything bad. And if anything ever happens to you, people know who you are, right? You're not just this person behind a mask that just disappeared, right? And I understand some people have really, really good jobs, and they might get, and now with cancel culture, you gotta be careful. So whatever way you want to play it, go ahead. But when people try to push that, oh, I want to be anonymous, this and that, I'll tell you guys this: if you have a business, that business is registered under your name. You could go online and find your name, your business, with your registration, everything, in less than 5 minutes. Okay?
Uh, Now, to be fair, there's one or two people in GunCad who just they wear the mask really well. They look real good in a
Yeah,
mask.
yeah, yeah. Like, since you repeat, Bitplum right here, Mr. Bitplum, right? But like I said, it's hard to be anonymous, right? You could do it like for personal reasons, but think about it. If you're ordering parts, you're paying with either your credit card. Your credit card has your real name, right? Unless you're using Bitcoin, and even Bitcoin could be traced unless you're using like Monero or something like that, correct? Um, I'm just saying, be anonymous if you want, but remember, it's hard to be anonymous in these times, but do what you want. And yeah, I had a lot of people show their faces on my show, and I think that that's what actually made the show a little bit better, um when people got to know who they truly were, because in the
Yeah.
beginning, yeah, because in the beginning I was just doing podcasting, right? Everything was through podcast, because I said, hmm, this is for people at work. If you're at work and you're working, put on that podcast. If you're driving home, put on that podcast. And then I said, You know what? But at the same time, I don't kind of like the way it feels in a podcast, because we were not seeing each other when I was doing the interviews, right? It was just like through voice. But it also helped a lot of people that didn't want to show their face. But then when I jumped into making the videos, the live streams, I enjoyed it, and I think people enjoyed it also.
What percentage of people you've had on the show have been uh to some degree like facially anonymous, and what percentage have been like completely like we are right now showing our faces?
Bro, like, probably one or two max, three, because I had Haywood yesterday, right? And Haywood doesn't show his face, but in reality, it was, I think it was, I believe it was Haywood, uh, and two other people, bro. So out of everybody I probably done, I gotta say maybe four max have
Okay.
wore a mask. And I believe I'm gonna do one person more, and I think he wants to wear his mask too.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man.
You'd be sweating in your mask all interview long.
Yeah,
Welcome, boys. Who's the guy that wears the horse mask? He's got to be dying in that thing.
imagine. Yeah, bro. I never met the guy that wears the horse mask, bro.
I saw him somewhere and I was like, man, he's probably sweating.
Yeah, I
How
think he
can
was.
you even read the screen?
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, but yeah, guys.
Man, You really love the community. That's a fact. It's plain as day, and you are loved by the community.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, like, the real reason I really love the community is because the community was there through dark times, man. And I don't know if certain people know this, but I don't think everybody does. I was going through I'm telling you, I lost my firstborn, bro. My son died. He was 16, right? Uh, 17. I'm not good with ages. I think all dads are like that, right? We're not good with ages. He was about 16 going to be 17, bro, when my son died. My firstborn, my boy, passes away, right? And then I'm taking care of my stepdad, the strongest man I've ever met, next to my dad, right? My dad's probably the first, and then it's him, right? I don't want my
Mhm.
dad getting mad at me. Uh, but but he was a good man, man. Worked all his life since he was a little kid. Straight up Mexican dude. Um, and to see him deteriorate, bro. I would wake up sometimes, look in his eyes because he couldn't talk after a while, and I could just see him, like, and I would have to tell him, like, "Bro, like, hang in there, it's okay, accept it." I remember the last day I told him, "If you're tired, just talk to God, bro. Tell him you're tired, bro." But he was a fighter, man. Even with ALS, I remember I would have to pick him up to move him and sit him in his wheelchair. I would tell him, "Come on, push, push." He would push, bro, with his feet. Right? And he lasted a while. At the end, ALS didn't even kill him, bro. He died because he got an infection in his blood, and the doctors didn't listen to me telling him that he was sick because he was on hospice, right? And I kept telling hospice, I need to take him to the doctor, to the hospital, but hospice didn't want me to take him to the hospital because that means that hospice was not going to get paid for those days, right? Because he was going to be inputted at the hospital at the emergency room. When we had him at the emergency room, hospice kept calling saying he needs to come home. And I'm like, nah, he's not coming home till we run the test. He's not coming home till we run the test. Right? We run the test, and then his kids get there, and I'm not his kid. I'm not by blood, right? So the kids said, let's bring him. When we bring him back, bro, he gets here, and then he ends up, he always wanted to die at here. He ends up dying here. I end up showering him, because I told them the last time I saw him in the hospital, I said, "Hey, man, when you get home, I'm gonna shower you, bro," because I showered him all the time, right? That for sure. And not a bird bath, bro. I showered him in the shower with right there, and uh, and when he got home, the last thing I did was shower him before they took him away, and that just made me realize and look at life in a different output, man. And I know I know I push a lot about psychedelics, right? And the reason I do it is because if I wouldn't have used psychedelics, I wouldn't have understand what it was to lose people, because being on psychedelics helped me realize that I lost them for right now, but I might meet up again with them, right? Because we're all connected. Everything's connected. Everything's energy. Everything is just different. How would you say it? Different dimensions, right? We're not. We never die. Like, people need to understand that death is real. Yes, our body dies, but what we leave behind, our legacy, right? Our image. That's what's gonna make us immortal. The way people think about us, the way people talk about us. And I think that's what pushed me more to get more into the community, because I said, you know what? I need to let people know that this community is amazing, and it's helpful. And at the end of the day, I know there's people in the 2A community that are suffering from depression, that are suffering from overthinking. And maybe that's why I was put in this community, because now I've been through so much stuff in life that I could understand, that I'm able to understand whatever you've been through, right? Uh, Somebody says, how could you have okay, how could you be a preacher or a father if you've never been through stuff in life? How are you gonna understand somebody when they come to you and try to confess their sins, right? How are you gonna help somebody if you've never been uh homeless, if you've never lost family, if you've never been through addictions, if you've never been through any type of situation in life, how are you gonna understand that person? You're not. You can't, right? But I could because I've been through a lot for my age, right? And I didn't understand it when I was younger. I'm like, damn, what I've been through so much. But I realized the reason for me being through so much is being able to talk to people, and I think that's why people reach out to me a lot, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I, I get a lot of messages is because I talk to them and I'm real with them, right? But at the same time, I tell them sometimes people just reach out of the blue and tell me, "Man, thank you for keep going," or "Thank you for doing your show," or "Thank you for being honest." And I tell them, "No, man, thank you because I was just having a bad day and there's times that I want to stop doing what I'm doing because I'm not profiting it from it. I'm not getting anything in return." But
Mm.
then I realize I am getting something in return. I'm getting those messages, right? I might reach out to somebody that's going through stuff and say, "Damn, Sabr went through darker shit. Uh, why am I complaining?" Right? My life is a cakewalk. Hopefully, I don't know.
Mm.
Boys, we need to protect Sabar at all costs.
Yeah, for sure. You might be the singularly most optimistic person that I've ever interacted with in GunCat.
Now, what about Swarmtech, bro? I think Swarmtech is, you know,
Swarm's a sweetheart. You don't want to see him when he's mad, though.
Yeah, he's got a mean right hook, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, man. So I mean that's why I really like the community, bro. And
Mm.
just the stuff you guys come up with, bro. Like Danny, right? When I interviewed Danny, just what he was like he told me, "Is it cool if I say it?" It's nothing bad.
Yeah, bro, send it.
Okay, Dan, I remember I asked Danny like what was cool about being part of Are We Cool Yet, right? And he told me that if he wouldn't have been part of Are We Cool Yet, it would have been really hard for him to design his mags, right? Because having all these people around him, being able to have all these mags and show him the stuff and just be like, "Here, look," is what helped them get that project done. And those are the best mags ever, man. I swear my life on those mags. So if you guys are still printing Mendez mags, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go get those Danny Meatball mags. Odyssey right now.
Danny, Mag King, Meatball.
The magician, bro.
The
The
magician.
for
Well, I
real.
appreciate it, Sabar.
Nah, I appreciate you guys. And then are you guys gonna ask me if I've ever had an out of battery?
Yes.
Dude,
He asked him to send it, bro.
Have you
Tell
ever
him.
hell
had
yeah.
an out of battery?
Oh,
Let's
he's got.
fucking go,
Let's see what
boys.
you got. He's got some show and tell.
Oh shit.
Okay.
You see this?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So you guys, so I made a high point, right? And the 3D printed high points for some reason have an issue with out of batteries, right? So I messed up. It was my fault. I'm not gonna lie. Allegedly, I had the mag with one live round because I was testing to see if it ejected. So that's my fault. Um, and I had just finished printing the safety, no, the mag release button, and I was pushing in the button to put it in. Somehow, some way, it just went off, and inside the house, super loud, bro. I'm looking around. All the powder is flying. It smells like powder. The thing I'm searching for is the bullet hole, bro, because it was a f it's not a hollow point. It's not. So it would have gone through whatever. I'm looking around, bro, everywhere. Where's that hole? Where's that hole? Where's that hole? Right? My ears are ringing. I got scared. I didn't even want to touch it, bro. All of a sudden, I I go clean myself, throw water in my face because it my ears were zooming, bro. It was inside the house. I look at it right. I take the mag out. I'm like, "What the hell? There's nothing in here." I look, the the casing is in bits, bro. If I would have been holding that gun, bro, while I was trying to push in that mag release. I had it on the what's it called, on the table, right? If I would have been holding that thing with my hand, I would have blown up my finger because of the power that it threw the thing. So what happened was that I the since the since the bullet wasn't chambered, some way somehow it just hit the bullet before it was even chambered, and it just blew up inside. And then once I finally look at the barrel, this thing was stuck in there.
Damn.
Bro, that's crazy.
So, shout out to the community, guys. Invest in fucking snap caps, okay? They're like so cheap, and then you don't indie in your house while you're fucking playing around, okay?
Or print one. You could
Oh
print
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Don't be a Sabr, guys. Don't be a Mexican ballistics. For real, bro.
uh,
But yeah.
so
Sabar, thank you very much for coming on with us tonight. I'm so glad that you did the show, and I cannot wait to get to talk to you more.
Nah,
yeah,
man. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for reaching out, to be honest. Keep doing the work you guys are doing. The shows you guys are doing are dope. And whenever you guys want to be on my show, hit me up, bro.
hell yeah.
Can you
Let's
get us all on at the same time?
Okay, so I'm gonna say something about that, right? Certain people, you could do that. Like you guys are chill, like nobody's over talking over each other, right? Usually I like doing my shows one on one because it just I'm able to talk to you intimately, right? It feels more intimate in one setting. But with you
Yeah.
guys, I'm down to have all you guys down like on the show because you guys are super professional with it, you know? I remember the show that I really watched with you guys that I really enjoyed was the one with V8, right? You guys had V8 in there, and I think that's the first time I've ever heard V8 speak, right? And when
Yeah.
V8 was speaking about the community, I was like, now I understand why people want to be part of Are We Cool Yet, right? Because the message and 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 the dream, right? About having everybody doing this, right? And being either as cheap as possible or free completely is amazing.
Mm.
Everybody needs to print, man. It does wonders for your life. To be honest, like I keep pushing that, but it did. It saved my life. To be honest, it sounds corny, but it just made me a better person. It made me be able to speak to people more freely, and it made me find a group of dope friends.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Amen to
So,
that.
so thank you
Welcome
guys.
to the friend zone, brother.
That's right.
Well, thank you again. And for the folks at home, thank you for watching. We love you guys. Have a good night.
Hell yeah, dude.